Hi everyone, thanks very much for having me. I'm really delighted to get up after a Muinne Tubber. When they were singing Céad Míle Fáilte, it was bringing me flashbacks of primary school, because that's the kind of stuff I would have sang in primary school. It was great. It's actually really emotional. I went through the full Irish language education system, went through knee school, bun school and man school, and when I went to the man school it was actually in this building. I've worked in the Cultúrlann for 4 years now as a good relations officer, and have just recently become director. So I'm sort of winging this, okay? I wanted to show you this image because this is what the Cultúrlann looked like in the 80s. It was, of course, not the Cultúrlann then. It started off as a Broadway Presbyterian church, was built in 1882, and it was abandoned as a church in 1982, I think, or 81. And then it lay like this for a while, semi-derelict, and part of a carpet warehouse, I think. Hold on, let me work this out. So when I was growing up in West Belfast in the 80s, this is what it looked like. And I think it's very important to understand how culture developed in West Belfast based on this. It wasn't a pleasant time and it wasn't a very positive time, but there were people who reacted to it, creative people who reacted to it, and I think that's what makes Belfast quite unique, and what happens in Belfast quite unique, and particularly what happens in West Belfast quite unique. This is not a healthy city. It's definitely not a healthy city, but there was a process that allowed that to become healthy. Yeah, worked out how to use the computer. And from my experience, and it is a sort of a personal experience to me and the rest of the people who grew up in the Irish language community, it was people like this. This is Gary Jo Carlin, who's standing up in the left-hand side here, taking classes and organising people to say, look, we're sick of this, what are we going to do about it? And it wasn't a political thing. It was like, I don't want to live like this anymore. You know, we want to have some form of representation. And they managed somehow to rent this building off another charity, Springfield Charitable Association, and they started playing Irish music in it, and they started doing amateur dramatics in it. And they started also, I had loads of other pictures, but I thought I didn't want to bore everybody to death. They started running galleries, or opened a gallery where they had really shabby, you know, art exhibitions where people had great art, but just that it was presented, you know, on a table with a tablecloth on it and hung in random places, as you can see there. This building was also used as a school. Like I said, I was one of the first pupils to go through it. I went in 1993, so you can guess what age I am. And it really developed from the ground up. So for me, arts and creativity was a real ground up experience. It wasn't the same. It wasn't that artists came in and showed us what to do. It was that we just became artists. We just said, right, okay, well, nobody's coming anywhere near us here. We can't even get a bus. What are we going to do? Well, this is what I like. And a lot of the inspiration behind that was the language and music. And after 25 years of going, Cultúrlann has changed into this. If I can get this video to work, we're doing good.
Fáilte the Cultúrlann Magadan Sofia, the cultural jewel of the crown of Belfast, with Hannah Forty. Cultúrlann is an Irish language and arts centre with the best of Irish music, dance, theatre, literature, classes and entertainment, all topped with a warm welcome to all of our guests. Here you will find top-class art exhibitions, a multi-purpose performance space, a tourist information point, interactive digital learning, and a rooftop garden. We are also home to a busy cafe and a specialist booth and gift shop. Cultúrlann's doors are open to all 7 days a week. Visit cultúrlann.ie or call 028 90 964
Okay.
See how we can make
Well, you know how to get in touch with us. So what I was trying to show there is how people with a bit of creative energy can make a big difference in that part of the city, and how actually it has affected my health personally in being part of a community and seeing that you can actually achieve a big change and do something beneficial for your city. And how, if you look at those younger generations who are coming up now, they have all those activities. We're quite a big art gallery, and we're sitting right in an area of multiple deprivation where people don't normally engage with the arts. I mean, the first time I was actually in an art gallery I was about 26, and I was in London, and I went into it and I thought to myself, oh, I don't belong here, I don't know what to do, and worried and thought somebody's going to think I was a fraud and left. But my experience of it now is totally different, and our aim is we have a big shop front that says come on in, you know, and the idea is to get people involved so they don't feel disconnected from it. They don't feel like this is not for me. Plus, I would also say that people don't often understand, or they might be doing something artistic or creative, but they don't maybe label it as that. And that was a lot of what we were doing growing up, you know, like singing Ceb Míle Fáilte. You didn't realise that that was something artistic or creative because you might not have labelled yourself that way. So we've been doing that for a while. We've grown and we've come to quite a positive point now. To develop on from that, we've been doing a wee bit of outreach. My role was really to do a lot of outreach, and these are just some images from the Townsend Street Festival we did for International Peace Day. We do a lot of partnership work, and this partnership work was with the Shankill Women's Centre. This is Townsend Street. This is what it normally looks like. It's an interface. This is what it looks like when we're running our street party. And similar to on Winyatober, we had a cross-community women's choir made up from the Shankill Women's Centre and the Falls Women's Centre. Women are really powerful drivers of change in this place. It's amazing. And we're developing on to do a wee bit more now. We're looking at funding is important, even though I understand what Adam's saying about, you know, sometimes when you're receiving funding, you're just tick boxing, and really what the Cultúrlann was brought up through was people who were just dynamic. There was no tick boxing, nobody was paid, there was no money, you just did it because you wanted to do it. Everybody just drew the dole and did their best. But I suppose there's a different level of expectations now, and I certainly don't want my kids to have that same experience. So we are funded by Belfast City Council and the Arts Council to do this project that is to engage communities in the history and heritage and arts of Belfast. Well, it's actually more the history and heritage of Belfast, and the output is artistic. We're working on the Farset project. So I've just got one more wee video to show you. Oh, sorry, these are just some images from what we've been doing so far. This is actually up in Ballysillan. Like, I'm from the Cultúrlann, West Belfast. We were hosting events in Ballysillan Park, and in Ballysillan, people were saying to me, oh, it would be great if we had more things like this, because they aren't engaged enough.
Beneath the streets of Belfast is a hidden river, a river that shares its name with the city, gave a life source to its first people, shaped its streets and powered the factories during the Industrial Revolution that really put Belfast on the map. Now it's time to look to the past and connect it to the future. The Farset project offers the people of Belfast opportunities to engage with the arts, connect with history and get creative. An iconic piece of public art will be created to inspire community pride. A dawn to dusk spectacular event running the length of this previously forgotten asset will celebrate our river, our story and our Belfast. To generate employment and learning opportunities, the community will develop and manage heritage tours to ensure the lasting legacy of the River Farset, the river that built the city. Get involved, make history. To find out more about this exciting project, contact Cultúrlann or Spectrum Centre and give a like to our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Farset Project.
So that's enough videos and stuff for me. Part of the reason why I wanted to show you that is because I wanted to say we are strongly based in West Belfast. We're an Irish language arts organisation, but I don't actually think we're going to get better until we do more partnership work. I think it's really great that East Side Arts are talking after us, and I think it's really great that we engage with each other throughout the city. I don't think the divide is just a Catholic Protestant thing. I also think we're in an area of multiple deprivation. We need to start doing things more with people who are in South Belfast. We need to work more with Nisha, who we already work with. We need to work with everybody. You know, we're a really dynamic city. I lived in Dublin, I lived in London, I worked in the arts there, and it's when I was in London that I realised that Belfast was better. You know, we're class, you know, a really great city, you know, we do things much better. In fact, Culture Night was one of the reasons why I was inspired to move home, because I thought, yeah, that's brilliant, we can do this, and I realised that I was always a part of that. I think I'd really like to see that we're spreading that out to more people. It's not always easy. In areas of multiple deprivation, you do have a certain amount of disengagement, but just try. Thank you.